So, like I said, I'm going to talk about why Cam Newton is being criticized, and this one kind of shocks me a little bit why he actually is. That's why I'm talking about it, obviously. But so, what the whole thing is, for a little bit of background, in the Super Bowl, if you did not watch it, Cam Newton I think it was the fourth quarter, yeah, it was the last drive of the game for the Panthers. He fumbled the ball in a strip sack by Von Miller. Great play by him, first off. I got to say, that was a nasty move he put on Reimers at tackle. He was doing that all night. He had some nasty moves. But anyway, so Von Miller strip sacked him, and the ball was on the ground. A bunch of people were in a huddle, and Cam Newton didn't dive for the ball. And this is only the first part of this. He didn't dive for the ball, which I thought was kind of smart, but he did eventually dive for the ball the second, just a little bit later, just not initially, when it squeezed back out. And so why I'm talking about this one in particular is he got a lot of flack for it, but I'm gonna make the excuse for him, but not really. He was set up to, like, in that, if you watch that play completely, he was gonna get hurt if he would have dove for that ball. He had his leg bent at a wrong angle. He would have dove head first, and there's a bunch of people all the way around him diving for the ball too. And that's exactly what he said. He didn't want to get his leg hurt. So just on that first dive that he didn't go for, a lot of people were giving him flack, and he gave up a pretty good excuse of doesn't want to get injured. And then people come back with, well, why not? It's his last game of the year. Well, if you injure your knee, your ACL, your MCL, any of that stuff, you're not going to be the same. Just look at RG3. He's a kind of like Cam Newton, just a little bit smaller, and he plays like Cam Newton. Let's just say it that way. He hurts his leg, and he tears his ACL, comes back a little bit too early, tears it again, and he's not the same guy. That's why I'm not criticizing Cam Newton. Biggest play in the Super Bowl, he could be out for another year, or he could be out for a whole year. Plus, on top of that, he won't be the same when he comes back. So that's kind of a smart thing on his part for not diving for it. The second time when he actually did dive was kind of smart, because the ball popped free from whatever the two guys, the Bronco and the Panther, that were there to try and pick it up the first time. And obviously, if you have a chance that's a wide open ball, you can go get it, and Von Miller swatted away, and TJ Ward grabbed it and all that stuff. So that's what I think about Cam Newton. It was a smart play to not go diving for it, because he saw the injury risk plus what could really happen with, like, RG3 and a couple other guys that hurt their legs. Now, the bigger part here was the post-game press conference, and if you didn't see it or haven't heard about it, Cam Newton, when he was at the thing, he looked really sad and was kind of dour and just looked really disappointed he lost. And obviously that's kind of what you're expecting when you lose. But the more thing is, I think that lasted 4 questions, about a minute and a half or so. So you got that on top of the fact that he looks really disappointed and stuff. So to begin with, before I add in the part that actually makes sense, or makes sense why he did that, Cam Newton should not have looked as disappointed as he was, just because he should know that he's a bigger face of the franchise. He's a bigger name in the NFL. Everyone's going to look at him and criticize him and all that stuff. But in the moment, I will say that's fine by me that he looked sad and all that stuff, because you just lost the biggest game of your career. What are you supposed to look like? Happy? Cheering? You're supposed to look... And you're 20. He's 26. How is he supposed to react to that, to losing the biggest game of his career? And he's never lost a game like that before. He obviously lost some games early in his Panthers career, but he played in the national championship at Auburn, won it. He played in the NFL. He played in playoff games like last year and earlier this year, and they've won some before this. But the playoff games that they played before this year, they weren't expected to really win, and they had a bad matchup. This year they were kind of expected to win, so that wasn't a big issue. So this is like the real first big loss of his career. I'm thinking it's fine that he looks sad and stuff, but he had... Before I add in this other part, I'm going to take my first half of the week. Yes, it was wrong to leave early or to leave it after a couple questions and be pissed off and all that stuff. That's wrong. But the reason he was pissed off was kind of how it was set up in the media room, where they had behind him the Broncos were doing their thing, doing their Super Bowl interviews, and he could overhear Chris Harris Jr., the star Broncos corner, talking about how he shut down or how they plan to attack Cam. Can he make us throw and all this stuff? He's kind of throwing some shade, which if you win like that, you kind of deserve to. But at the same time, you still don't, because you should be more professional than that. So if anyone on that post-game conference, people should be jumping on Chris Harris' back. I don't agree with that just because I like Chris Harris, I like the Broncos, all that stuff. But in my personal, unbiased opinion, people should be jumping on Chris Harris, not Cam Newton, for making Cam Newton leave early. Especially after you hear what he actually said. And if you want to look it up, I encourage you to look it up so you know what I'm talking about. And Cam Newton came out and said a bunch of stuff on Monday or Tuesday about why he didn't dive on the ball, leaving the press conference early. He apologized, I think, and a bunch of other stuff. But my opinion, I don't think Cam Newton should be really criticized as much as he is. Yes, he is the fresh, good-looking, young, athletic dude in the league, all that stuff. He's the face of the league basically right now. He's what all the coaches want in a quarterback. He's got the charisma, the swagger, and all that stuff. But he started the whole dab dancing phase, or whatever you want to call it. But still, I don't think he deserves the criticism he gets. Yes, he's good, and that's why people are going to criticize him, is because he's outlandish and he's really got the like swagger and charisma that a lot of people wish they had but don't. So that's why he gets criticized, but I don't think he deserves it, at least based on the Super Bowl performance of the two things I talked about earlier. So he plays good. He doesn't deserve the criticism of what he got from what he did, and really it's just out of line in my opinion. So I'm going to move on to what will Peyton Manning do in the future after this year.